Hello everybody. It is Sunday, the 22nd of December. I want to talk about, since it is Christmas, I want to talk about the light that came into the world that should save us. The enlightened knowledge that came into the world that should save us. And yes, it was brought by Jesus, and we could comprehend what he was actually doing. And he showed us both light and the source of darkness. And that knowledge should save us. If ignorance would comprehend what was actually going on there. To me, the last puzzle piece has fallen into place. And that is, to me, the conundrum that was Jesus himself. That I could never figure out. That question that I was asking all the time. Brother, what did you do? And why did you do it? Why? What was your reasoning? Yeah, it's really being like a child. You know, this big question, why? It should be there all the time. You should ask in order to receive answers. You should be a seeker of truth and understanding. And in order to seek that, you need to ask questions. So that was my question all the time. What were you doing? Why did you do it? Because for me, yeah, this insanity that is Christianity, yeah, if we go from the point where Jesus is all compassion and all love, yeah, and then he goes on away, and the outcome is the book of the Revelation, which is full on destruction, yeah, famine, pestilence, war, angels going around slaughtering everything in sight, ball cubes hanging in the sky. I mean, what on earth? So how did we go from here, from love and compassion and all of that, to full-on destruction? And to me, it was always clear something has to be wrong on the way. Well, that's what I thought. Something has to be wrong on the way to get us from this point to that point. Where is the mistake? What is the mistake that would create that? In a way, I was asking the wrong questions, but I'll come to that. And then to me, again, the problem was Jesus himself. Again, what did you do? Why did you do it? And really thinking of error. Did he get it wrong? Did he not know what he was doing? Was he deceived by something else? Yeah? Or was he a deceiver himself? What are we looking at here? Are we looking at error? Are we looking at deception? What are you doing? And yeah, the answer came to me yesterday. It was neither. What he did was very deliberate. And there was an intention. There was an intention inside of him that he intended to reveal a truth. He intended to bring the answer to a question. Again, the book of the Revelation is actually the answer to a question. We are looking at the answer, we are not aware of the question. Which is why it doesn't make any sense. So I want to show you all of this here. What he did was very deliberate. Very single-minded, and yes, he was going the way of Gnosis to reveal a truth, and he did it intentionally. And I think he did it in order to save the world, especially that should have actually saved the world 2,000 years ago. I want to show you all of this here. Again, there was a light shining into the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. Either did not comprehend it, or didn't want to believe on it, or we were deliberately led on the wrong way, and I think that is Paul. Paul is the false prophet, but I want to talk about him in the end. Right. So, in order to understand what he was doing, we need to see it in the context of what was going on at his time. And again, there was a piece of the puzzle that I did not have until very, very recently. I was not aware of that there was a theological debate raging at that time that started as a debate and then turned into a full-on war, mainly because the Christian side turned to violence to get their point across. But that is what was creating the war at the time. And that Jesus was actually trying to bring the definite answer to the debate in order to stop the war. Now, the war that was raging at the time between the pagan mystery schools and the Christian side, actually Judeo-Christian side, they were both coming from the same angle, was the question of the source of evil. That was it. Where does evil originate? Where the Judeo-Christian side was saying it was there from the beginning. It is contained in the original source itself. Yeah? What is emanating from the original source contains both good and evil. They're just two sides of the same consciousness. That was their argument. The Gnostics, the pagans said no. No. What is originating from the original point, from which everything originates, is what originates from there is light, it's love, it is good. There is no darkness in it. Darkness comes into being on the level of the created through ignorance, through not misunderstanding the Creator, misinterpreting what is being experienced, error. Ignorance and error is what is bringing, and then acting out of the false perception that is what is bringing evil into this world. It was never in the original source. And then I would say by the time, it does happen, but we are on a level of consciousness that is still seeking the understanding of the Creator, of the source. And we make mistakes. And that is just part of the process. We are obviously not perfect right now because we do not have that perfect knowledge. So we will make mistakes. And the point is not that we then go down and beat ourselves soggy about it. It is simply, we know it's wrong because we experience the wrong outcome, mainly. We should know it from there. We must acknowledge there's something wrong. We must correct the mistake, which is mostly wrong thinking, wrong understanding. We must go to a different understanding that will then put us back onto the path of light. Right now, we are in error. We are on a path of darkness. But we must make a correction to go back to the path of light. So anyway, those were the two thoughts. That, as I said, first they argued with each other and then it turned into full-on violence. Yeah, and it created a war, a physical war in this world. And it killed thousands. So Jesus was trying to bring the answer, the definite answer to that question, where does evil originate? Yeah? And then in the book of the Revelation, he brought the answer. He absolutely brought the answer. And again, he went there. I'll talk about that in a minute, because that was the fall of Lucifer that brought the answer. Talk about that in a minute. But he was in the book of the Revelation. He is physically there. He is experiencing the answer. That is definite. Yeah, that is certainty. And what he is seeing is the Borg cube, which is most certainly on the level of the created. That thing is not the source itself, the creator of all. It's not that. There are beings in that cube. They are on the level of being that are influencing this world. And again, you know them by their fruit. And look at the fruit in the book of the Revelation. Pestilence, war, plagues being poured out, angels slaughtering everything. Yeah, and I really should not have to point out that that is not good. That is evil. So what Jesus actually revealed there is the source of evil. And I would not say it's the only source. I dare say there are others. But he revealed a source of evil. And he clearly showed that evil was coming from the level of the created. And that was the answer to that argument. That should have brought peace. Yeah? By bringing a definite answer to the argument, that should have brought peace. Only it didn't. Because people, I don't know, they didn't want to hear it, they didn't believe it. But that is what he revealed, the answer to that question. Now he revealed other things as well. I want to talk about that next. And that is, first of all, he had knowledge of the light, of goodness, of compassion. And that was the light within a human being. The light that is within us. The light of the Creator that is within us, from the original source. He revealed that. He also revealed the power of it, the creative power of that. And that's then the miracles. I've just heard in a video somebody saying, oh, you shouldn't concentrate on the video, on the miracles, because that is so disempowering, because you are not Jesus. The only thing that is disempowering, and you can't do it because you're not Jesus. The only disempowering thing is that thought. That is your thought. I cannot do this. That is the only disempowering thing that is within yourself, that is blocking you from even seeking that truth within yourself, from even seeking that light within yourself. I can't. Period. And that closes the door. You're not going any further. You are blocking yourself with the idea, well, I am not Jesus, and you have not read the book, or you have not seen what it says in that book, because it was not just Jesus. There were loads of them. They were all at it. Yeah? And they were not perfect, wonderful human beings. He plucked them out of life. He plucked them off fishing boats. Yeah? They were not the picture of perfection. None of them were. They were ordinary people, and they went out into the world in pairs of two. And they did those things, and Jesus was not with them. He was not standing there holding their hand. And they did it. Ordinary people. Because the Christ was within them. And the Christ within them was the knowledge that it was possible. They knew the Creator gives. They knew the Father will give. They knew if I ask and I believe that I have received it, it will be mine. They knew that was their reality. That was the truth. That was the Christ within them. Jesus did not have to be with them or do anything. He only had to give them that knowledge, and they had to make it the truth within themselves. That was then the Christ within them. That's all Jesus did, is give them that knowledge. But they had to make it the truth within themselves. And if you stand there and say, well, I can't do it because I'm not Jesus, you are the one that is blocking that truth from coming in. You are the one that says, I can't. The book says you can. And in that way, it should not be disempowering, it should be absolutely empowering. But we need to do the works. We need to take that in and make it a truth inside of ourselves. That's the works we need to do, to let the Christ in and create us, become our truth. Anyway, so Jesus was on that level of complete enlightenment, yeah? Knowledge of the love of the Creator within us. But then he went to reveal the source of evil. And for that, to do that, he needed to fall from the light. And that is the fall of Lucifer. And that is the way of denial of self. That is the way, and he did that bit by bit, deviating from the truth. Deviating from the truth that is within a human being. And he was led. He was absolutely led on that path. He was told what to do, and he did, without questioning. He did not question the orders that he was given. For myself, I say nothing or do nothing unless I'm being told to do so. I'm being told what to say, what to do, when to say it, when to do it. And I will not question that. And it will lead me to the source of what is given those orders. So he went into the darkness from extreme height of light. And it starts, you can see the slight deviations, like as Lazarus was a milestone, it really was. Because the truth of a human being, the love of a human being should say, when my friend is sick, I'm getting news that my friend is sick, I should go there straight away and heal him. Especially if I have the power to do so. He deviated from the truth because he was ordered to let him die. There was something there telling him, let him die. And then resurrect him to glorify me. Resurrect him to glorify the Father, the source. The Father in heaven, the source in heaven. Jesus did that. He followed, he went deeper and deeper into the darkness to the point of the crucifixion. Now there is a point where human knowledge should absolutely, you have to go and have yourself nailed to a cross. And there's something where human knowledge should absolutely rear up against that. Yourself should rear up against that. Human truth. And Jesus himself had to pray that hard that because of blood that came onto his forehead to go there. And he did. And he went through the death, through the resurrection, the ascension. He ended up again in Jerusalem in a different reality, where the source of all of that was revealed. And that was the Borg cube. But make no mistake, Jesus had to become that. He had to become that in order to know it. He had to kill the light inside of himself. And that was his sacrifice. That was his self-sacrifice. To reveal the truth. Which was the answer to the question that was creating absolute war, mayhem at that time. The source of evil. Is it originating from the original source? Is it all one, all in the same light? Or is it error and ignorance on the level of created? And there was a definite answer there. The Borg cube is on the level of the created. That was the fall of Lucifer in order to bring a knowledge. He experienced it, he gave the knowledge to John. John was supposed to tell it to everybody else, and somehow it didn't create what it should have created. Peace. And then of course in came Paul. Now here we are talking about deception. And deception being the deliberate introduction of error. Deliberately introducing error in order to create destruction. That is deliberate. Paul says you must all follow Jesus. Yeah? You must all deny yourself. You must all not go by your own knowing. Yeah? And here there is actually really the Christian way of, because good and bad is in the same source and you're going toward that source. Jesus had already revealed that that is not the creator. That is not the original source. That evil is error on the level of the created. Ignorance on the level of the created. But Paul is driving them further into the way it's all the same source and it's the creator. Good and bad is the same thing, just keep going there. Keep denying yourself and keep going there. You end up in the same place as Jesus. Yes, you will. It is the revelation of evil that you're going toward and destruction. And again, that error is still in this world. I hear it. I mean, Johnson Julian, one of the most, when he said it, thankfully it actually created a storm on his channel. Somebody had the wherewithal to see that it was nonsense, but he was actually saying, talking about, I think it was Gaza at the time, that the people that are killing babies. But, you see the love of the Creator shining out through the eyes of the baby. But the same love that is shining out of the eyes of the baby is shining out of the guy that is hacking the baby to pieces. It's the same light. It's all Creator. And that is, again, the wrong thinking that Jesus had already proved was wrong is still in this world. It is still creating. Jesus had already brought the definite answer that was wrong. It is not from the original source. And it's creating as Johnson Julian. It can say, it's all the same love. Everybody that says, that bad things are happening to me, it's all from the same love. People can look at the book of the Revelation and call it good, because it's all from the same love. But Paul knew it was wrong. And he did. That is deliberate. Driving people in deliberately to that point of destruction. Deeper into the darkness. Whereas the light of knowledge was already there. The correct answer was already there. And why did Paul do that? Well, he was a Roman. He was an imperialist, Jewish. imperialist. He was an executioner. Yeah? And he was teaching this to the Gentiles. There was a Jew teaching that to the Gentiles. Put a few things together, you might see why he was teaching that. It was deliberate to drive the Gentiles into destruction. And since he was giving this knowledge to Rome, especially at that time, I would say he gave that knowledge, he taught that to destroy Rome on a spiritual path, through spirituality. And you'd say, well, Paul was going around talking about spiritual wickedness, that is in high places. Why would he say that? We know that as a tactic in this world. Point your finger at something else and accuse them of what it is you are doing. We know that is a tactic, and it would appear as an extremely old tactic. In fact, it's biblical to do that. That is what he did. He was pointing the finger somewhere else to avert attention from himself. Divert attention from himself. But we are still, as they were following the false prophet. And most of the Christianity is built on the teachings of Paul. They're not actually following Jesus. They're following Paul, the false prophet, that will lead you deeper into the darkness. And even if you arrive at that point where let's say, the Borg cube is hanging there, by that time you're that diluted, you think, oh, that is love, because it's all the same thing. When Jesus had already told you it's not. It's not all the same thing. That is the knowledge that he brought. And he sacrificed himself to bring that knowledge. He fell into the darkness himself to see it, to know it, and to bring the knowledge of it. He made that self-sacrifice. So, the only way that the knowledge that Jesus brought can save this world is for us to actually understand what he said. To understand that he brought the knowledge of the Creator, of the love of the Creator within ourselves, within a solid human being. We have not fallen from anything. It is within us. That was the knowledge of the light. He showed the power that that knowledge can have and how it can create. That is the knowledge of the light within us, the Christ within us. The knowledge the Creator gives and that we will receive. We ask out of love and compassion, and we will create healing and other things in this world that are good. He showed that the denial of self will lead into darkness. And that is really compromising with our own knowledge of good and bad, listening to a different voice, beating down our own knowledge, suppressing it, and that it will lead us to the knowledge of evil, which is the Borg cube. And lastly, they are not the same thing. They are definitely not the same thing. They are not even originating from the same place. The light of love and the power of love within us is from the original source. It's from the Creator itself, and it is within us. Evil is on the level of the created, and it is ignorance. It is error. It is ignorance of the light. And he fell himself from the highest, one of the highest knowledges of the light, into the darkness so he could reveal it. And that was a sacrifice. And it's only when we understand clearly what actually happened there that that knowledge will save us. And it will lead us back onto the correct path. That is knowing the Creator inside of us. And actually knowing that what is happening in the book of the Revelation is not good. There's something. Get enlightened to the knowledge that death and destruction is not good. And it does not originate from the original source. It's ignorance, it's evil. And stop following Paul because he's taking you there. But there we are. For myself, I haven't seen this now and understood what he was trying to do. Seeing the fall of Lucifer and seeing that he was trying to bring a definitive answer to a question that is creating war in order to bring peace. Only the darkness did not comprehend the light. It did not take in that knowledge. We must. We absolutely must. But now that I see all of this, I can actually go now and celebrate Christmas. And I will do so. And I will celebrate the light coming into this world. And I hope that the rest of darkness will start to comprehend what it is he was showing and what it is he was trying to do. I mean, I say for myself, the knowledge, the fullness of the understanding has only just arrived. So I'm not actually on a high horse. I was in as much darkness as everybody else to this point, but it's here now. And I will celebrate it. And in that spirit, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Have a wonderful time, and I talk to you again soon. Bye.